In this episode, we're going to be talking about the 2021 DO Youth Boxing Scholarship recipients. Welcome to the DO Boxing Show. I'm your host, Dameon Okposio, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the DO Boxing Show. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the recipients of the 2021 DO Youth Boxing Scholarship. And before we get into the people that won, I want to first say thanks again to number one, Melissa Sharpe, who did fundraising. She's the Princess of Sound. She had guitar-shaped purses, and she was stopping the business of the guitar-shaped purses to assist her husband in his Sharpe Sauces business. They do sauces, spices, and rubs, and it's a business that's doing extremely well. She wanted to focus on that with her husband, and she used her last guitar purse to raffle off. We got a nice shadow box for it, and she went and actually raised the money on her own. She raised $250. I matched that amount in order to provide 2 scholarships, because I always set aside money to do a scholarship a year for $500. And then Dr. Faisal Rehman, who was on the cover of issue number 38 of Below the Belt Boxing magazine, also sponsored 2 scholarships as well. So we had a total amount of 4 eligible scholarships of $500 available to be won for 2021. So a lot of thanks to Melissa Sharpe and to also Dr. Faisal Rehman. Now, when people were submitting their scholarships, there's a couple things I'm going to say about that. Number one, thanks so much to everybody that submitted their essays. And, it was great. I enjoyed reading them. It was fantastic. There was one essay in particular where the person did not have any amateur fights and didn't have any examples of community service. So those are 2 kind of key components that I was looking for in terms of the 3 requirements that I was looking for. And, I don't want to discourage that person other than to say, very good on you for still submitting the essay and taking the chance, which I think is a great thing. But that because it didn't meet the requirements, then that your scholarship was not considered, unfortunately. So when you do get an opportunity to have an amateur fight sometime in the future, feel free to submit for future scholarships if you fall within the qualifying parameters. For the other scholarships, great. Thank you so much for submitting them. You guys did a great job on your scholarships. And the one piece of advice that I would give to everybody that submitted scholarships is when you submit something, whether it's for a contest, a scholarship, a resume for a business, an application, you should always follow up. I sent confirmation emails saying that I received a scholarship. But you should always, especially if you don't hear anything, because I think there's a couple instances where people submitted the resumes and then didn't send a follow-up until much later on or close to the deadline. And in one of the cases, I hadn't even received the essay. It may have been sent to a wrong email. Sometimes people misspell my last name. So you always want to double check with the source that you're sending it to make sure that they actually received it, whether that's in the form of a phone call, a text message, whatever it is. It's always a good idea to follow up because kind of you'll leave yourself out of an opportunity if you don't. Thanks to the coaches that pushed, in particular, Jackie Armour. A big shout out to Jackie Armour, because I know that he really pushed for the people in his club to get the essays out there. He checked with me numerous times, and I think that that's just tremendous. It's a tremendous way to look out for the kids that you're coaching. And And I know Jackie Armour is that type of person anyways. He does a great job in terms of promoting his club and promoting the kids at his facility as well. And that's out in Brantford, Black Eye Boxing Club. So another thing too I wanted to point out was one of the fathers of the people that submitted the essays had contacted me about profiling their kid in the magazine. And for people that follow Below the Belt Boxing Magazine, you know that since 2013, I charge for content, I charge for the covers, I publicly post my ad rates for the boxing magazine. And so he contacted me about profiling his kid and was willing to pay for that profile in the magazine. And one of the things I'm really happy about and I'm glad about is that he had his child submit an essay, and it just so happened that his child is one of the selected parties. So now not only will he not have to pay to get his child that exposure, but he's also his child is also going to receive a $500 scholarship on top of that, because the exposure in Below the Belt Boxing Magazine just comes along with being a recipient. So a great thing that they took advantage of that. And, you know, I don't necessarily spell all those things out, because I leave that for people to find when they follow my content, follow my magazine. That's the advantage of following people, subscribing to my channel, or anybody else that you follow. That's the advantage. You know everything that's going on, or you have an idea of things that are going on, and you could take advantage of those things. So I think that's a great thing that occurred. So now for the recipients of the 2021 DO Youth Boxing Scholarship, we have 3. So the winners and the recipients are Liam Welch, Miguel Estrada, and Kelsey McPhee. So all of you guys won $500 scholarships, and also a feature in the upcoming issue of Below the Belt Boxing Magazine. I will be in touch with each of you. You'll receive your scholarship probably sometime around the end of the summer, probably around August time. We weren't able to have an induction in 2020, and normally that's the time when I like to give out the scholarships, is at the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We didn't have one last year because the lockdown is continuing at this particular time, and we don't know when that's going to end. I don't know if we're going to have a ceremony for 2021 either. If we don't, I'll do what I did last year in 2020, and I will meet you, or will designate a place to meet, and I will give you your scholarship at that particular time. We'll take a photo, and then I can correspond with you on the phone to fill in details with regards to the profile if I have any questions. So congratulations to the winners. Again, Liam Welch, Miguel Estrada, and Kelsey McPhee. Congratulations to you guys for submitting your essays, submitting them within the required time, and doing a great job on the essays, and doing a great job with your amateur boxing careers and what you do for the community. Congratulations to all of you. Remember, if you have any questions related to boxing, any suggestions about what you'd like to see us cover on the DO Boxing Show, you can reach us at Twitter at DOKPOSIO, email okposio@hotmail.com, and don't forget to subscribe to get every episode of the DO Boxing Show. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Wow.